Just bringing an introduction into the video that Stephen's doing this for us right now. We've had David Evans from Wales, had a long association with David from up in Corwin with another chap called Philip Hughes. Been out to New Zealand a few times. He's been sharing and he's come out and seen us, and we've been over and had a look at his farm, and he come and had a look around. He's been watching our YouTube channel and thinking we've got to go whole hog when we get back to Wales. So pretty cool. Cowshed coming from New Zealand over there, and we're comparing notes on equipment that are coming from Wales to here. So yeah, a really good conversation about someone I really enjoy his company. Put a video out there and like 8,000 or 9,000 people have watched it in a few days. It's like, yeah. And it's growing too.
That's why I'm getting nervous.
What about being a superstar on it?
Yeah. All this.
We didn't even get any bloody makeup on you.
Not all for me.
So question, David, cowshed wise, can't get a rotary built over there, or is it just these guys are way better and going to work out cost better way?
I don't know. We just approached the GEA rep with us, and then we didn't know it was built over here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hope we get it built as quickly as possible and get the cows, because they're calving in August, and we've got every day is ticking down. We were planning to come to New Zealand anyway.
Oh, right.
And then it just both everything visits came together, and then we got an invite to actually see the rotary being built.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And so have you seen some Ivor Williams trailers around here?
No, we haven't.
Oh,
we
they're about.
Yeah. Are they?
Yeah, they're about. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I had to laugh. I thought,
yeah,
you bring your bloody trailers all the way from Corwin to
yeah.
and we'll send your cowsheds back.
Yeah. Built a mile from where in Corwin. Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah. Are they livestock, are they mainly, or
no,
a bit of everything?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, no, so it's quite funny. When I first saw an Ivor Williams trailer, I nearly fell off the bloody... I was on my push bike, I thought, bloody hell!
Yeah.
I know where they were made. You've sold the ewes and you're going to cows.
We sold over half the ewes last year and bought in young dairy heifers.
Yes.
And then we grazed them last summer and then bulled them 10th of November, so they'll be calving sort of mid-August.
Oh, so you're going to carve them outside?
Yeah.
And then we try and keep them out as long as you can?
Yeah, we specifically had to go for an autumn block calving because of the milk buyer. They had plenty of spring block calvings.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's why we had to go for the autumn block.
So that's like, from what I'm here, that the dairy's taking a bit of a hiding over there.
Yeah, it has. We're going in at quite a tricky, well, price-wise, but we're just looking at it long-term, really. You know, it's always been peaks and troughs, and we were getting a bit disillusioned with a sheep job, really, just a lot of work and for very little reward.
So who the milk buyers are? These are the supermarkets or the?
They're a cheese and butter South Carnarvon dairies. Yeah, that's who we got the contract with.
So do you think they're small enough to appreciate any milk quality changes by doing what you're doing?
I haven't really thought about that one.
Well, that's something that really happens big time.
Yeah.
It's really noticeable.
Okay.
Yeah, like even with the calving, you know, and rearing the calves, your good time of the year, of course.
Yeah.
If the feed hasn't got the nitrates in it,
right,
then it's a lot easier for the calf to digest the feed and you don't get the scours and all that.
Yeah.
But then with that lower nitrogen content, it's way better for making cheese.
Right.
And if you go into butters, then yeah, same sort of thing. There's less tainting, better storage, and
Yeah.
it's far more inclined to curdle and make the cheese. The higher the nitrogen content,
Right.
the harder it is to get it to go.
Oh, okay.
Well, you see the rennet comes from the cow's gut.
Yeah.
They use it to make the cheese.
Right.
Same process. It's trying to digest the feed. Too much nitrogen, calf goes out the other end.
Yeah.
But in the cheese making process, if you got it sorted out, it'll be an interesting one, because the biggest issue is we have far too bigger companies that completely neglect quality. They've got all these people running around telling everyone what to do, but it's all based on a university model of nitrogen, this, that, and the other thing, and they've neglected everything that they need to as far as filling a.
Yeah.
And the other issues that go with that is, like, see, they've just sold all the dairy brands here. So they've more or less said, well, whatever we produce will be just the same as everybody else in the world.
Oh, okay.
And so, like, you've got an opportunity, if they're onto it, and you take a focus of quality feed in soils and that, they should notice a difference. And this is where we have to change things. This has been a bit of an interesting one, that these guys are always the testers and modelers. Like, we ran out of cobalt this year, and it had a real, like, didn't stop us growing grass, but had a real difference. Like, livestock weren't hooking the weight. Yeah. And they didn't really get the bloom on them.
Yes.
And we got onto it. They've been on this. They've been about 2 weeks. They've been on ground that we've actually got the brew onto now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. They just quietened down.
Yeah.
They were bellowing at us and all.
Doesn't copper sometimes show those symptoms?
Same. It's just, there's a little difference. It's it's almost like copper's more under the throat.
Right. Yeah.
And these guys are more all over that. They just didn't have the real big bloom on them.
Yeah.
But it's made quite a difference, but it's not, oh, well, another thing to learn.
Yeah. And they've turned the corner now? They're going the right way?
You can tell by the...
Yeah.
There's no noise. They're all pretty happy about it. And we'll give the cows a break. Another 2 weeks, we'll wean the calves and give them plenty of time to get back in good nick. And
yeah.
Yeah.
And you've got plenty of grass in front of you going into the winter, as you yeah. No worries there.
No worries, no.
No.
Well, as you said, when you come up the driveway, like, you're looking over the fence and you're seeing all these weeds, and then all of a sudden there's no weeds. Yeah. And this is what the problems that are facing the neighbours, is that we've got no weeds and they're covered in weeds. Yeah. And so the nice moist summer conditions have turned into weed growth. So they're out there spraying, topping, everything else. It's just, But yeah, got to make life easy.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah, we've sort of been concentrating on rotational grazing for a few years now, and we've seen a marked difference in the amount of grass we can grow. But weeds are still a problem. We graze and move the cattle on, and we might go in with a topper afterwards just to clean up.
What sort of weeds are you looking at?
Thistles and docks maybe are the two major ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they're telling your next door neighbours
They
got the same
agree.
problem, yeah.
Well, the grazing season for a start is a lot shorter for us. Getting cattle out early in the season is always a challenge with poaching and mucking up the ground. And
when he says poaching, it's bogging the ground up,
Yeah.
making a mess on the soil, like
Thanks.
pugging.
I thought it meant people coming and killing you.
Yeah,
no, well,
poaching and pugging are the same word.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I should think rainfall. I think we're in a high rainfall area. Not that I know what it is offhand, but it's getting up to 600, 700 mil, I should think.
You'd be more than that, I think.
Yeah, it'd be more than that, wouldn't it?
Yeah, a lot more. I think you're
Yeah.
probably closer to 1,500 or so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, and confer on Dr. Google or ring Philip.
Yeah, well, yeah,
He'll
he'll
know.
know. Yeah, he will.
Yeah. The interesting thing when you travel, and their problems are not like, yes, they've got to keep the cattle inside, but your problems are pretty much the same as us.
Yeah.
And it's been the same ethos that's causing it. Not so much the overuse on superphosphate on volcanic soils, because you're not in a volcanic soil region, you're in an ancient seabed region. But the ups and downs with product sales, financial margins, everyone's the same. And so the significant issue in all of that is just like what we're doing, is like you get to the point where you don't have costs, and that's where you've got to go to. And that's like when people say, oh, we're not getting anything from the milk. If you didn't have to pay all the high costs and everything, then you'd be fine. It's probably the same with the lamb too. I know Philip's got really lazy and just throws them out on the hill and looks after them as best he can, but just like it doesn't pay to have them in the shed lambing, does it?
No.
So it's how to cut the costs out of things. And so, you know, even with what we are here, I mean, our vet bill for the last couple of years has been zero. And although I'd like to see the cattle from what we've done improve again next year, but when you don't have a vet bill and your vet bill's bugger all, and you don't have to worry about weeds and that, you just sort of make sure there's plenty of water and got the fences in the right place, and you just keep moving them.
Yeah, we've had challenges as well with what do you call it, mineral deficiencies in lambs, you know, like poor growth and lambs not doing, and so you keep drenching them with this and that and trying different things, and maybe it's a short-term short-term thing, but I like the idea that if the grass does it for you.
Yeah, the thing that we sort of, because we're growing so much soil, like I'll get out probe out and show you, but like we've grown 150 mils to 200 mils of soil here since in the last 8-9 years. And the limiting factors has quite often been those trace elements, and they're so essential in growing the soil before they give it back up to the animal.
Okay.
And so with the soil tests that we're doing now, and the herbage tests that we can cross-reference to, and understanding the nutritional requirements of the animals, we can now start to be a lot more accurate about, because a lot of the stuff that we've been doing, nobody's done it before. Like, we've been really pushing the silicon part, realising that we have to get rid of the aluminium toxicity. And as we saw out the front there, we see that coxsfoot really coming in. Well, it needs silica. Like those high fertility grasses, they need silica. And we're finally on these soils, which has never seen that abundance of silica. All of a sudden, we've got coxsfoot in the paddock, and it's palatable coxsfoot. You know, they love it, they clean it off. So we're getting to a point where things are working in that regard. But what we're seeing is you go back and go, oh, we're growing more grass, soil, and then these guys are, when they were pinging along, all of a sudden they're not quite going, and you're just like, oh, get a herbage test, get checked. And it's not being that we only fertilise once a year, it's not a case you can go out and go,
no.
Oh, I isolated the problem back in November, but I haven't been able to get to doing the process until I've got 2/3 of the farm now, and we're waiting for the plane to do the hill stuff. So as we see these issues, then we see the changes, and like every mineral has a little different signature, and like we've gone through nickel, cobalt, selenium, iodine, boron, and we're sort of, what's this one? And what the hell is this? And go and do the numbers, check, oh, it's there it is right there. The numbers have gone from really good, because like our cobalt levels last year were 0.38 of a part per million. Bang, we're going, and we went to 0.08 in one season.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, we just didn't see it coming. But we'd grown 10 tonnes of soil, the carbon in the bottom, and so that's where it went. And it's like, it hasn't gone anywhere, but it went into the making of the soil. And so when we're growing carbon in the soil, what we've got to look at is, it's actually I call it a protein. And so like any protein needs minerals to actually grow, and so we need to put them in there to let it happen. And we've been caught up, got caught up in this, you know, like you've gone into pastoral management, but we've got caught up in people thinking that tall grass grazing is going to grow your carbon.
No.
Doesn't. And until you actually start to ascertain all those things that are required in the soil for the cyanobacteria to work, that then grow tall grasses, doesn't work. And I've just seen people going around and trying to quantify what they're doing and make them feel better about it, but they haven't been able to come out with the numbers and going, well, if we did this, we've grown 10 tonne of carbon this year, and like that was on that part of the farm. On this part up here, we didn't. We know the two different soil types, and we isolate the variances between.
Yeah.
Go, there it is right there.
Yeah.
So whenever we're doing all this stuff, and I think it doesn't matter where you are in the world, unless you've got really good data and know how to actually go, there, solve the problem, get on with it.
Because one of our limiting factors in getting the planning to start off with for the dairying was because we've got broiler chickens as well. We've just been checking.
Oh, chicken manure on, yeah.
Yeah, so when we did, they wanted us to test the whole farm, so our peas were way up there. So that was a big, you know, they were concerned then we were going to milk 200 cows and then we were going to just make things worse.
Yes.
So, you know, we've had to limit the cow numbers and promise that we're going to export a lot of the
Down to
chicken.
Philip.
Yeah.
To his biodigestor, yeah.
So,
and then he can send it off to someone else in another form that's utilisable, yeah.
But that's becoming a big issue now, you know, the phosphate levels, and I guess it's nitrates here more than phosphates, is it, in New Zealand?
Well, they're not getting the phosphate runoff as much as what you guys get, but I mean that in that regard, it's a recognition that the biology hasn't been able to consume the dung and the trash, because that's the only way phosphate leaves the farm, is in a manure form.
Oh, okay.
They have a problem here, and so like around the lakes and that, if you have a really poor soil, in the sense the cows shit nitrates because there's no protein, no proper protein, and then the dung doesn't get consumed, and then so you can end up with a hard pat on the ground, and then you get a big downpour and it picks the dung up and carts it into the...
Yeah.
And so they're trying to limit the number of animals around the lakes, and I'm going, well, that's not the problem at all. The problem is that if you don't have decent soils, this is the problem you're going to get. And like, as we pointed out, and you can see down there, that pond down there,
Yeah.
that Dad put in,
Yeah.
our nitrate level leaving there is 0.05 of a part per million and below. And the boffins say, oh, it's unobtainable. So perhaps you should just come and dunk the water and test it yourself, you know.
Yeah.
And it's got virtually no phosphorus in it at all. So like, we're digesting everything that we do.
Okay.
Now your phosphate issue is coming that it's gone into manure and it's not being digested and held in the soil. If it's digested, you won't get any runoff. And I think that's really shown, like the amount of invitations I've put out to people and going, well, if you think that I'm wrong, come and have a look and then tell me what I'm doing wrong, because I'm open to whatever I need to do to change it to make it better.
Yeah.
And there's, we're always open for improvement.
We're just under 600 acres of total acreage.
Yeah.
But we're sort of in 2 main blocks, and the cows will probably have 200 acres of a platform to graze.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
a lot of the other ground will be for young stock and silage ground.
Right. Oh, well, that keeps it not, they don't have too much distance then for walking. Yeah.
It is a bit of a, we've had to build the dairy close to the roadway, where we would have liked to have it more in the centre of the platform, but it just, there'll be a lot of toing and froing with tractors and trailers with the carting the silage, so it's best to get it near a roadway.
Farming.
Yeah.
And diesel.
I know.
We're all seeing quite a bit of Jeremy Clarkson and Clarkson Farm. You watched much of it?
Yeah, we watched it. He's been a good ambassador, hasn't he, for farming?
Well, he certainly seems to open a few eyes up to what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It allows people to actually see the issues that we've got, and people going, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, you can't be real, can you? And go, actually, yeah.
That's what I left with after doing all that. That's my bottom line. I was when he said how much profit he'd done over the year.
It wasn't flash, yeah.
No.
Yeah, no, we could certainly help him with a few pointers there, but he certainly opened a few eyes up and a few doors, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you faced with this inheritance tax and all this shit that they want to put on you?
Well, yeah, it's just they have moved the goalposts a bit. They've raised that up. I can't remember to what it is now, but yeah, it was a bit of a
Kick in the balls.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what they do without food.
Yeah.
I think that's
I just hope they haven't got a hidden agenda that
Oh.
they want to feed us what they, have they going to grow something?
well, it's
for us?
a bit difficult to allow people that never produce anything to tell you how to do it,
Yeah.
because they wouldn't know what they're doing anyway, and especially if you're paying them, and how the hell are we actually going to get straightened out from there? And this is a problem we've got with the farming sector, is that we haven't had the ability to actually show what's happening on the farm. And what I said to you before about the milk quality, meat quality, and like I was going to the meat board about the increases in omega-3 and this 20 or 25 years ago, and we're starting to see some of these carbon cowboys come out and go, oh, look at changes in the meat, and I'm going, oh, really? And we had these opportunities back then, and when you had where we've had access into the countries with higher value quota, and you just get stood on, and where you could be actually setting a real example about moving on. And that's all run by people that get paid by industry, but don't actually, they're not out in the paddock.
No.
It just causes trouble. Yeah, so your problems are no different to us.
No.
But your supermarkets are really right on your doorstep, though, aren't they? They're in control of the process, would you say?
Yeah, I should think we're lucky. We've still got quite a strong livestock market as well, which is sort of setting the base price. If we were all on the hook, killed, we might be a different story. But
There's likely a bit of well, we haven't seen prices like what we're seeing here before.
no. So I hear.
And it's certainly, even with the dairy guys and that, they're still feeling the pressure and the sense of cost. So they're struggling with these increasing costs, because in fact they've gone more like you guys about hard feeding and all that, instead of taking advantage of growing grass all the time. So they're not seeing the real benefit out the other end. And a lot of the dry stock guys, the first time they've been putting fert on for a long time. But the same thing, the costs that, like you being a shearer, it's costing more to shear it than what the wool's coming out the other end. Something's gone wrong, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, you'd be on the same boat over there too.
Yeah, I think the big change this year is going to be the nitrogen price. I think I heard the other day that it's £460 a tonne.
Right.
So
yeah, so you're about the same price here, $1,000 sort of thing.
Is it?
Yeah, $1,100. Yeah,
So
and
I
likely to go further. Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are going to be, thinking, changing plans or destocking or looking at other forms of growing grass.
Well, everything needs nitrogen, but I mean the thing is that you grow it yourself. It's really funny in this country. We had Rob Muldoon and his Think Big projects, and he put in the gas plant down Kapuni, and they started making nitrogen, and hardly any farmers used it before that. And then they go, well, what are we going to do with all this nitrogen? Oh, we got a bunch of willing farmers that we're just, look at this. And, we're seeing the consequences of that now, the lack of carbon in the soil, farms covered in weeds. It's been about selling a product. And now the farmers are hooked, the old intravenously, it's getting expensive. Oh, the well's running out of gas and we won't be able to produce any nitrogen. The world's going to end. Oh, woe is me. And I'm going, oh, yeah, whatever. It's like, this is, you can fix it. And it's quite simple to do the numbers. You take how many tonnes of dry matter, times it by 3% is how much N you need for the year. Can you convert enough humus to hold the nitrogen? Yes, you can. Why are we concerned about a factory in Kapuni? All they were doing is taking nitrogen out of the atmosphere and putting it into a solid form. That's what biology of plants do. It's like they need machinery and we just have to have cyanobacteria and healthy plants. We've lost the plot. You guys never used to use it either.
No.
Well, you know, and I went there early enough when you used 3/8 or 5/5. Yeah, I must admit, I noticed it going back there after Chernobyl. And I don't know if that was when I saw some real shit hit the fan. And I don't know if anyone sort of really realised that how much of an effect that it actually had. Yeah. It was a real eye-opener to me. And seeing the cattle and this is on land that, Hugh had records back to 1500 and there was people on the land before that. But after Chernobyl going back there, one the same. They were measuring sheep with Geiger counters with how much radioactive. Yeah. So I was there in the country when that went on. Yes, it might be, got a bit of it.
Explains a lot.
Yeah. Well, isn't it funny though, like back in Chernobyl now, then they're working out that the fungal species can get rid of the radioactivity. And it was actually in, with Philip last time I was over there, it was quite a while ago, and we'd been to see, the guy had done a degree in truffles, and I got to spend a day with him about fungal species and all that, and it was really quite funny because we were looking at all these different fungi, and I go, well, what's that one there? And he said, that's an LBF. And I go, what the hell's a little LBF? And he goes, oh, that's a little brown fella. And I said, well, how do you know the difference of the species? Oh, he said, until you actually get into the genus and the DNA and all. But it was funny because it was only a couple of days after that we went out to this freeze country, and I don't know what, it was where they'd never ever put fertile.
I was with you. It was up in
That's right.
by the top of Nebo there.
We got drunk as skunks.
Yeah, and then you drove over the freeze area to get to the farm, didn't you?
Yeah.
And you were blown away by the species there.
And the cattle, how healthy they were, in the sheep. Yeah. I forgot you were there, but he sozzled us with
Yeah. Yeah, you would have brought a few portions out.
But that was really interesting to me, was how those magic mushrooms and that were there and it cleaned up the soil. And that's what they're finding in Chernobyl now. So that's part of what we've been learning, is different species they're introducing to clean up the soils. That's a big picture stuff.
In fact, last year we had some winter wheat, and I had the agronomist looking after it, and he said, oh, you've got to spray this, spray that. And then, even then, I was questioned off Ellis, really, do you really need to do that? Well, I just...
Do you think that with all the podcasts and the stuff that we're putting out, which you're getting a look at, does it actually give you a bit more confidence that there's a bit of science?
I think it's got me interested in it again. Yeah, definitely. And because we're changing a bit of a course in the farming now, hopefully everything will come in together.
It was interesting yesterday, an old client, shit from way back at the start, his son's just started with us, and he made a comment, which was really nice. He said, should have never left, He said, you're obviously, really making strides, and glad to be back on board, and let's get into it. So.
And another comment Telly said the other day, which I thought it was something I'll remember, is, you're only going back a second in time when they started putting stuff on, and they've managed to cock it up in that many years. Well, there's got to be something in that, isn't it?
Oh shit, yeah. It's been it is only a little tinky in time, eh? And with all our infinite wisdom and technology, we haven't done a very good job, have we?
No. But it's made some people rich selling it to us.
Yeah, but how can you be rich and happy when you're not healthy?
Yeah.
No, that's like we see it with the farms. When you're talking about the weather, You know, when the farm's going no good, the weather's always shit. And when the farm's really good,
Yeah.
weather doesn't matter.
No. No.
And, you know, it's been very hard for the farmers to complain about the weather this year, but the noise that's coming from the thistles, they're telling us, oh, bloody thistles, how do we get rid of these California thistles? And they're putting out, oh, come to this field day and we'll show you how to spray them 3 times and you'll get rid of them. And one guy talking to you yesterday, he said they'd just come up with a spray for yellow bristlegrass. It's got a withholding powder from the cows and all sorts of things. And he's just like, what? And like we've had it down the side of the road here, and it only grew where they sprayed it out with Roundup. So like spray Roundup and get yellow bristlegrass. And see, there's no spray on our roadside. We just say, don't you touch it, we'll keep it clean. There's no yellow bristlegrass, and there's none in the paddock either. And it's like, yeah, one disaster is just leading to more. I always go back on it. You know, the scientists were so smart. They said we can spray DDT all over our paddocks. Yeah, well, what happened after that? Yeah.
Would UK would have used as much of that DDT?
I don't know.
I don't think so. It doesn't seem to be an issue. You know, you never hear about it in the UK. I don't know, but it must have been used.
Well, they really lopped it on to try and kill grass grub and piranha, and it was subsidised to the point that the DDT mix was actually cheaper than the super. So some places got it thrown in more than what the super was.
Right, yeah.
And there was farmers that said, no, we never got DDT put in our mixes, and they go and do tests. Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, okay. So it was pretty widespread.
Right.
Right, we'll grab the car keys and we'll jump in the Jeep, and I need my pro.
Hello.
Slightly different pasture species, eh?
I was just saying I can smell chemical.
Yeah, that's right. It's standard practice next door and everyone around, but certainly not here. Oh, usually when you come down when they're in that paddock, we're moving them to the bottom of so they're looking at a...
They're expecting more.
Well, expecting. Yeah. So when we started, it was more or less the other way around. That's how much topsoil was.
Up here somewhere.
Yeah, so that was like the... So...
Show us again for that?
Well, that was like how much topsoil there was.
Just between there and there?
Yeah, and now it's the other way around.
Wow.
So it's quite funny when we... Paula puts these things up on Facebook about the pastures, and people want to know when you've planted the summer crop and when you're doing it. That's our whole summer crop.
Yeah.
That's it. Lazy man's farming.
When was this grazed last then?
About 36 days ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's tomorrow they'll be in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being midsummer, you know, it's come back well, isn't it? In that sort of time.
I think that's the big thing that we keep noticing. We keep surprising ourselves.
Yeah.
Is that if you let the right species grow at the right time of the year and you get the cover.
Yeah.
So the soil temperature, if you go into an open paddock, if I jump to this here and did a soil temperature on a hot sunny day, it's likely to be 8 to 10 degrees more than it is over here with the shade. And so you can imagine the amount of more moisture that's coming out of the soil. And plus the roots under here are going to be twice as long. So, and they're more suitable to a summer pasture. So if we do get any rain or whatever, it just goes, we're covered, and it just up she comes. And it looks completely different to, this is what we'd call a standard New Zealand dairy ryegrass pasture. But ryegrass wasn't supposed to grow in the summertime.
No. And being multi-species, do you find, do they go after a certain species when they're grazing, or is it just mopped off?
They just mop it off, really, and just clean it up.
Yeah.
We see them at times, you know, if you go into a patch where there's been a lot of trampling, or we call it poaching, and you've got docks have come up, and they'll run in there and eat all the docks, which is quite funny.
Yeah.
And people go, oh, I better spray them. Go, why? The cows will eat them.
Yeah.
And Paula was standing in a piece over the other side where they'd trampled them in, and she was standing in the middle of it, and I let the big steers through, and next thing she had these bloody great English steers all, get out of the bloody way, all of it. And Paula's going, oh.
that yarrow, it was put in a lot of our grazing mixture because it was known for mineral uptake. And now you get paid for putting a multi-species lay in.
Yeah, well,
So if you just put this stuff on and let this grow, like,
yeah. Well, Philip will know how to get the subsidies because
Oh,
he's
yeah. absolutely,
he's an absolute wizard getting one.
yeah. You haven't got bees, have you? You should.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're about.
yeah, you'd get some good honey off this, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem, though, because their bees, they take them away and take them down to the kiwi fruit guys to pollinate there in their poison orchards, and honey's not worth shit. I mean, they're using the bees as a tool for pollination for other
Okay.
things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after this round, it is actually the ryegrass is starting to come. Like, that's the natural season. It's germinating now.
Yeah.
After this round, and like, it'll form probably 50% of the pasture going into the middle of winter. And that border pit, what you call it, border, it'll carry us through, and then come September, it just really just starts to ease back, and the clovers start to kick in. And
Yeah.
but
And you'd get some growth every month, would you?
I said, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the more that we get the farm sorted out, the more growth we get in those winter periods. Yeah, very much so. And if you get it right and catch everything bang on, the hay will stay in the shed. It won't, like I've had years here. Haven't fed a bale of hay up,
Oh, okay.
which is really, really, really good. Yeah.
Well, no work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So anyway, I was going to show you this EMF effect. If you put your hand on this fence here, there,
Not electric, is it?
No, it's not electric. You don't like that in pole. It says no problem. And then what happens here? See, this is one of our what we call our guardian rocks, and that's wired to the fence. See?
Yeah.
Okay. Now you hold me now.
Okay.
See, try that again. See, you can't hold me, can you?
And you're not doing anything different, are you?
No. Well, you see, like, you could pull me over before, couldn't you? And I can just pull away from you, no trouble.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's bloody spooky, that, isn't it?
Well, it is and it isn't. What we got to realise is that in the cyanobacteria in the soil, each individual cell is more or less a replica of what's in our bodies. And so every cell has 12 tissue salts, DNA, and every other part of it is within cell. And so this body here then reflects on what it's being exposed to. So what's being exposed at the moment is that the toxicity that's coming from the neighbour's place here is amplified onto the fence here, right?
Okay.
So when you held the soil, it didn't have a negative effect at all, did you? And when I had the rock down there, it didn't affect you at all either. But when we took the rock off, you lost the strength.
Yeah.
And so when I put the rock back into there, see, and then I'll just come around just to show you again. So you put your hand on the thing there, and you do your finger again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you got the strength back, see? And so you can use yourself as a testing modality to show what's going on. Now, if you look at the soil, it's about 30% silica. So it's a silicon chip, and it holds memory. And so that's a part of some of the stuff that, when we went into that freeze country, a guy called Paul Stamets, he actually done the research that certain fungal species broke down radioactivity and utilise it for energy. So in that area, I could see that the animals were really healthy, and even though the ground looked like shit, didn't it? Yeah. But they were healthy as hell.
Yeah, they...
So we could go back there and test the muscle strength and that. But see, like, then what happens here if I don't fall through the fence, I don't get shot by the neighbour, he comes down with a gun occasionally to shoot the geese. So it's So there's a good indication too of, you know, the change in the soil. So we're down here,
Yeah.
and he's up here. So the moisture can,
Dirty.
like, well, we were back to front. The soil
Yeah,
was down
yeah.
down to there,
Yeah.
and we're back to front. So we got twice as much dirt to grow grass with, you know, or
Yeah.
grow whatever we want. But the other issue that comes with it is that now if you hold that one, and now put your hand, go like that.
Oh, yeah.
Catch that.
Okay.
And I'm not trying.
No.
So that's the effect of the frequency or the memory of what's held in that soil doesn't resonate with us. It's not healthy. And this is a lot of the stuff. So
How does that smell to you?
it's a bit dead, I think. Won't be anything there.
I should have smelt this
Oh,
one,
you
but
can-
there's definitely good soil. There's definitely a good smell about it, isn't there?
Yeah. I'll grab one for you.
What do you get from that one?
I think it's probably not getting any smell at all.
There's a little plug still in that Ewan.
Oh, it'll pop out.
Oh yeah.
So you can see how much more. See, it's all back to front. We've got twice as much.
Yeah, definite.
Yeah.
Let's get it. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got a foresty smell?
Yes.
Yeah.
And all the roots and everything in it.
Yeah. It's got a lovely smell actually. And like it's still, you know, at the bottom of that, in the soil part, it's quite moist, even though it hadn't rained for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So we've still got growth going on. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yes. I guess one day the neighbours might think maybe he's doing something all right, but at the moment it shows the contrast between what's going on and how would you call a conventional approach and what we'd say an unconventional approach, but all I say is now it's an accurate approach.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have to actually know what's going on. Well, this is just what people are seeing all the time now. Is like these weed infestations, and they don't know what to do, and they're trying to bludgeon it, you know, with sprays and chemicals.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to a guy yesterday, who's got bristlegrass down in Taranaki, and they come up with these sprays, and they don't realise, you know, the cyanobacteria is, you know, one of the smallest microorganisms on the planet, and we wouldn't be here without them, because they took an anaerobic environment and turned it into an aerobic environment, and they are easily the most prolific microorganism on the planet, easily the most prolific organism on the planet, but they can't stand chemicals. None of them. None of the chemicals they can handle. They don't actually do a chemical test to say, is this killing cyanobacteria? They never test that because all the chemicals will kill them.
Okay.
So we get distorted, you know, and they're the base material. That's the part that all creation comes from.
Yeah.
If you want to screw them, well, you're just going to screw every part of the steps that go from there on. That's crazy. Bonkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, the industrial complex of farming needs to stop. Tally ho.
And the farmers are the ones to stop it, isn't it? If we stop buying the fertilizers and the chemicals, there won't be an industry for them to sell it.
That's right. But you know, we do need outfits like ours to do what we're doing. I mean, and the reality is, as I kept learning this stuff, I'd go, well, where can I get this from? No one would, you know, so I ended up building a business because I was the one that could find the stuff, and other people kept on asking me, can I have some of that? Can I have some of that? And they're like, all of a sudden we're in business. And now it's just, it's not getting out of hand, but it's, it's getting rather busy, And people like yourself that we've met years ago, now are a lot more further down the track with a lot more knowledge.
Yeah.
And you guys have been around the bush too. You know, that's
Yeah.
not working. That's not working.
No.
You know, what are we going to do? Yeah. And,
Yeah, I was sort of half-heartedly doing it, but not to the full extent. You know, I was still using a bit of fertilizer and spraying a bit as well, but you know, it's just needs must. Sometimes you think you have to, and
and pressure.
Yeah.
I know it gets, and I think that's probably the beauty of what I've enjoyed about doing the podcast with Stephen, and that is that you're continually putting the science up and showing the reaction, what happens, where this is going to, which then gives a lot more confidence to people. Like, oh, you can do this.
Yeah.
And we have a farm.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to showing you my farm when you come over.
Yeah, bloody
hopefully.
hell. Very good.